Monday, February 16th. There is the closing bell, guys, with the S&Ps finishing the day just down 1 point. We're starting this week off on a down note. Tomorrow we have the Fed minutes coming out at 2. Will that get this market going? Let's dive right in, break this market down, and then go over the top trending stocks of the day. We take a look at the overnight trade and we hit all-time highs around 11 o'clock. However, we just trended down from there. We opened up and we fell, and it wasn't until lunchtime we saw a bounce, and overall, we just couldn't get things going. Now, when we look at it on a daily, you can see we put in that all-time high. However, this 3,900 level looks pretty safe for consolidation, and we're still relatively high. We put all-time high in, for crying out loud. Now, when you look at the SPX, we were coming into this week expecting just 60 points. So that means 60 points up would take us to 39,904, and 60 down would take us to 38.74. I think this 3,900 even is a strong level of support. And if you were to ask me, I would lean to the downside this week. Healthy consolidation is not bad. Maybe one more week of consolidation before seeing a go time is what I think we're going to be doing. With a small expected move, don't expect much this week. Let's move on over and take a look at our Nasdaq. Taking a look at the Nasdaq, it too put in an all-time high. However, it peeled back down 0.34% due to the lack of financials being in the Nasdaq. This 13.7 level seems like a great consolidation as well, which we're down. Now, when we compare this to the Big Five, we can see the Big Five today was flat on the day, just 0% right there. Getting some help from Google and Facebook. However, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon were all down. And you can see the weight, everything was about in line. Even on the day right there, you see the S&Ps relatively weak, but the Nasdaq down a little bit more. Ultimately, on the bigger picture here, these Big Five can easily get going. You see an uptick in volume today, and for the most part, they're just a stone's throw away of getting all-time highs. And once this thing gets going, the market is going to feel the weight of these guys. Let's move on over and take a look at the Russell 2000. Taking a look at the Russell 2000, it was down 0.8%. For the most part, the Russell is in consolidation around this 22.5 level. I don't expect it to keep making all-time highs day in and day out, but when we take a look at some of our sectors today, the XLE is something not to mess around with, as you can just see. It's been on a beautiful uptrend, some volume backing it today. With crude oil being up today, the XLE is definitely benefiting. Now, what else was up? Well, the financials are following the energy sector, breaking up to an all-time high. The financials are finally roaring. You see up close to 2%. Outside of that, we had our communications up, but that was from Facebook and Google. Other than that, we see technology down 0.3%. Everything else is relatively weak, with utilities leading the way down 1%. You even see software stocks down 0.66%. They do help the small caps a lot. Being down today, it was just energy and the financials shining. So with the financials on fire today, how did the bonds break down? Taking a look at these bonds, they're down 1.25%, puking with big volume coming in it. We just take a look at it intraday. It was trend down all throughout the day. Ultimately, tomorrow, the Fed have their minutes coming out. What are they going to say about these bonds? Because when we look at the TNX is the 10-year Treasury yield. We're sitting at a 1.3% rate in this 10-year. We're breaking out to levels last seen in late February. This is going to be very interesting to watch as it's moving very fast. How high do we go? I don't think it's a concern until we really get up to probably 15 to 20 range, because that's close to 2%, 1.5 to 2%. Then that starts giving you some problems when it comes to equities and bonds. But right now, it's very interesting to see how fast this is moving, and it'll be something we'll look watching heading into tomorrow's Fed minutes. So with our equities down today, how did the volatility index fare? Taking a look at the VIX futures, they were up 0.66%. However, this is the February contract. You can see we're rolling tomorrow. So we're rolling into the March. So let's take a look at the VVIX. And you see the VVIX today was up close to 5%. VVIX has been in kind of a consolidation mode, pretty wide for the most part. When we take a look at how it traded intraday, we bid up into the final minutes with the VIX bidding up. Traders are just simply buying protection for their portfolios. Let's cruise on over and take a look at our dollar and see how the commodities did today. Taking a look at our dollar index, it was up 0.06%. Consolidating around this 90.5 level. Looking at it intraday, it just erupted right around 8, just kind of got back higher where it was. Now, how did our commodities break down? Well, crude oil today was up 1%, breaking into the $60 handle. Just taking a look at it, just definitely helped our XLE big time today as it keeps marching higher day in and day out. And then we have gold today was down over 1.5% with some sizable dump in volume here. We look how it traded, pretty volatile. Dropped, popped, and came right back down. It appears gold is just being outshined by Bitcoin. And when we take a look at silver, silver was flat on the day. We look at it on the bigger picture here. Again, sizable volume, but again, in consolidation mode. I expect the dollar to come back down, and when it does, these metals will get going. But in the meantime, who knows what's going to happen. And then we have Bitcoin today. Bitcoin broke over 50K. Taking a look at it, how it traded through the night. These are the futures. It got to 51. Quickly back down. Bigger picture here. Bitcoin is on a nice trend. Some sizable volume. Maybe traders taking profits at 50K. But ultimately, I think we're just getting started here in Bitcoin. My charts are screaming on the 22nd for some big moves. I will have a Bitcoin video up here soon showing you guys my charts and my thoughts on the space. But other than that, Bitcoin is on fire. And once we get and hold 50K, the show is just beginning. There you have it for the stock market breakdown. Now today, it was up to the financials and energies to keep this market intact. If it wasn't for them, the S&Ps would have quickly unraveled. However, they were up a sizable amount, and this market was flat on the day. We'll see if they can stay green into tomorrow's tape, and maybe technology wants to join them. Otherwise, I see the VIX getting another up day as traders just simply hedge their portfolios and buy some protection. However, with the bonds falling apart today, that's a good sign for equities. Seeing the bonds fall typically means equities should rise. However, how fast are they going to fall? Tomorrow we have our Federal Reserve minutes. Can they cool off these bonds, maybe get them to reverse? And if they do, equities might sell off a bit in tomorrow's tape, so keep your eyes on that. We're coming into this week with just 60 points of expected move. Sitting near all-time highs, I'm not expecting much this week. But let's move on over and take a look at some of the trending tickers of the day. And coming in at number 2, Tesla Inc. Today, Tesla was down 2.44% with a market cap of $764 billion. On a year to date, Tesla's up 9%. So Tesla's having a decent year despite being down today. Now, what does Tesla do? Well, they design, develop, manufacture, and sell electric vehicles, solar energy generation, and energy storage products. Now, Tesla today had some news. However, it was down. They plan to open an electric car manufacturing unit in southern India, still hovering around this $800 level. Last week, it played a support level, or it was our lower edge on the week. Now, when we take a look at it this week on an expected move, Tesla's coming in expecting about $50 of move. Now, you can see the 766.57 will play our lower edge. You can see last week that 800 level, it held up, and we closed above it. So it was an efficient week for the most part. We'll see if we roll over, and if we do, this 766 level should play a very strong support. I think this 800 level is pretty strong, but we're kind of peeling off from that level. It'll be interesting to see how it trades tomorrow, being down 2%. It does have some Bitcoin on its balance sheet, so if Bitcoin gets going, it could potentially save this stock and get it going. Ultimately, on the bigger picture, it relatively is pretty high in terms of valuations, but it appears this market doesn't care about valuations, and if Tesla does sell off into tomorrow's tape, 766 is a very strong support, and I would buy that level with confidence. And coming in at the number 1 trending ticker of the day goes to Palantir Tech. Today, Palantir was down 12.75% with a market cap of $52.2 billion. On a year to date, it's up 19%. Palantir, what do? Well, they're an American software company that specializes in big data analytics. Data is like a commodity nowadays. Now, what's the news out on Palantir? Well, they did have earnings this morning. They missed their earnings, and they're struggling to sell data to companies, forecasting their annual sales growth of at least 30%, which is a slowdown from last year. So this was a stock that has been very hot. It soared, kind of consolidated, got a nice pop due to Reddit, and coming back down to reality. Now, when we put it on an expected move, we were expecting this week $4.07 with the lower edge around $27.84. We're literally sitting on the lower edge, guys. So this is pretty impressive with the options markets priced in here. Do we get a bounce here? Statistics says yes. However, this is a stock that has been relatively on fire lately, but it is hard to borrow, so it potentially could squeeze higher off this level. However, if it does sell tomorrow, a 2 standard deviation move on this stock is 2377, so it would be like around this area would be 2 standard deviations. And if we do see that level, that's a clear buy. We would bounce off that level relatively strong, especially with Wall Street Bets backing this stock. It's one of the top searched names on Wall Street Bets, so this is a stock that it appears to be coming down, but it quickly turned on a dime, and it's sitting at the lower edge right now, which I expect it to bounce off this level. But if the selling continues, 2377 is a great level to enter. There you have it for the top stocks of the day. Did you get a chance to watch any of these tickers? If not, what are you guys looking at heading into tomorrow? And if you watch this far in the video, guys, I'd really appreciate it when you hit the thumbs up button, and just taking that extra second to subscribe will really make my day as well. Other than that, guys, have any comments, questions, feedback for me, leave it down below and I'll get back to you. Other than that, guys, have a great night. Take care. Peace!